If you're faced with the decision of choosing a residential aged care home for a loved one, then this is the video for you. This is one of the biggest decisions that you will make, and there is more to it than brochures and room photos. In this video, I'll walk you through the 5 essential steps to choosing the right aged care facility for you. And I'll share a free ebook that you can download using the link in the description below. Choosing residential aged care is a huge decision, emotionally, financially, and practically. You're not just picking a place, you're deciding who will care for someone that you love. But here is the problem. The system is very complex. The costs are confusing, and almost all the information out there to help is government how-tos that don't really go beyond the steps, and residential provider marketing spiels or paid referral sites where you provide your details and they match you with a provider. They then get paid a referral fee. So you just need to keep in mind that you're not the customer, you're the product. That's why I've created a free guide, Secrets to Choosing the Right Residential Aged Care Facility. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through some of those key steps so that you can make confident, informed decisions. Step 1. Get financial advice before you decide. Aged care is not free, and poor decisions can cost you tens, even hundreds of thousands of dollars over time. So before you commit to any facility, and probably even before you begin to look, speak with an aged care financial advisor. Even 1 hour with someone who can look over your specific situation can make a massive difference. You'll know whether your situation is straightforward or whether getting some more detailed financial. People think because they're a full pensioner that there's no need for financial advice because there's not going to be any contributions or means-tested fees. But understanding whether you can afford the room price over the longer term is also a significant consideration. I have seen families very distressed when they can't afford the place they want. So understanding your budget before you look is a great start. Let's face it, just because you can't afford a Mercedes doesn't mean that there are not other cars out there that you can love. I've also seen families in very stressful situations where they take a place for their loved one, they move in, and then find out later after their financial assessment that their financial situation is different to what they anticipated and that the costs are more than they can afford. Now what? Do we move mum or do we find the money? It can be very, very difficult. Most people rely on the government fee estimator, and it is great, but it is only a starting point. It's not going to tell you what you can negotiate. It's not going to tell you how best to structure your room price, whether that a refundable accommodation deposit or a RAD, or whether a daily accommodation payment might be better for you. It's also not going to tell you how to reduce the long-term costs. And clarity on this up front gives you power and protects your loved one's future and your peace of mind. Step number 2, research beyond the brochures. Don't rely on the glossy brochures or the online reviews. Yes, these are a great starting point, but you do need to visit and you need to ask the right questions and look for the right things. When you're looking at the home, notice, how do the staff interact with the residents? Are they respectful and attentive? Look at how the staff interact with each other. Do people seem comfortable and engaged? Do you see and hear connection between everyone there? Does it look like everyone knows each other? What are the meals actually like? And yes, you can ask to try one. You can even bring your loved one in and have a meal at the facility. What activities are actually happening, not just what's on the calendar, but are the residents participating in activities? Are they going on in the home? The other part is how quickly the team responds to your calls or your questions. Aged care is a lot of processes. You're going to find that out. It is very highly regulated. There is no way around that. And so, aged care facilities need to be really good at processes. And one of the first ones is basic customer service. How did you feel about your interactions with them? Did they make you feel comfortable? Were they warm? Do you feel cared for? Because if you don't feel cared for at the beginning, you're not likely to feel cared for during the process. And don't be afraid to visit more than once at different times of the day or to ask other families what their experience has been. Step number 3, location is more than just a pin on a map. Might seem obvious, but location matters more than you think. If the person that's entering care has got strong community ties or friends in a particular home, then it might make sense to choose a home where they can maintain their existing social connections or even some of the activities they participate in. But for most people, the important thing is choosing a place that is close to the people who will visit them often. This is what makes a difference to them long term. And if you can drop in after school drop off or work, you'll visit much more than if you need to drive 30 minutes or 60 minutes out of your way. And those visits, they make a world of difference to how at home somebody feels in care and subsequently to their overall health and well-being. It's even easier for them to make friends with other residents because when you're visiting more regularly, you can help them to make the connections. Remember that older people have been out of the loop of making new friends for quite some time, so there's a natural loss of confidence in doing this. And if you're there visiting, then you can support them to help make friends with other residents. Step number 4, understand what you're really paying for. So residential aged care has got 3 main cost areas at the moment, and it is changing on the 1st of July. But there are care costs. So these are the costs of caring for you or for your loved one. This is for the staff, the equipment, all the consumables that go into providing your nursing, your personal care, activities, your meals and laundry and cleaning. The next cost is the accommodation cost. So this is the cost of the room itself. It covers the cost of the land and the building, the maintenance and the ongoing refurbishment. The concept behind this structure of costs in residential care is that the facility is now the home. And so you pay for that home either by buying it, which is the refundable accommodation deposit, or by renting it, which is the daily accommodation payment. The next cost is additional services. So this is where the government specifies the minimum requirements for care services. This is that all homes must meet these minimum standards for what they include in their care and services. So where homes provide more than or better than the government requirements, they might charge additional service fees. Right now, it's April 25 and we are in the midst of some significant reforms in aged care, and there are some changes to the structure of costs that will start for people who come into residential care on or after the 1st of July. Primarily, the out-of-pocket difference is going to be significantly more, and more people are going to pay. Look out for another video that I will do in the next couple of weeks specifically about these changes to the costs of care after the 1st of July. Some of the names are going to change, but there will still be that same basic structure of costs for looking after you, costs for your housing or your room, and costs for extra things. So the next thing is who pays what, and what does the government pay, and what do you pay? How this works is that the government has assessors that they send out to the home. These assessors assess your loved one, and they will determine how much funding they provide to the facility for care. They determine the cost of caring for your loved one. You pay the accommodation costs, as I mentioned earlier. It's considered to be your home, so the government consider it your responsibility to pay for that. For some people, if you have no ability to pay for your room, that means that you have no home or a protected person, so somebody who is protected under the legislation, like a family carer that is receiving a carer's allowance, or a spouse is continuing to live in the home, then the primary home is not going to be considered for the costs of moving into residential care. But other than that, most people will be asked to contribute to their room costs. Centrelink determine this, and for those that are not required to pay for their accommodation costs, the government will subsidise the provider for that. It's a little bit like your public housing, where you are deemed not to be able to afford to pay for housing. The government pays for that, and it is the same here in the room costs. The other fee that you'll come across is called a basic daily care fee. Now, this is something that everybody pays, whether you are a full pensioner and whether you have $10 in the bank or $10 million in the bank, it is the same for everyone. And this is the piece that everybody pays towards their care costs. Then for some people, they also pay what is currently called a means-tested care fee. This depends on your income and your assets. It's assessed by Centrelink or Services Australia. And this is what you are asked to pay towards the cost of your care. How this works, if you remember, I told you about the assessment that the government does and the dollar figure that they come up with that they determine is going to be the cost of caring for your loved one. If you are assessed by Centrelink as needing to pay a means-tested care fee, the government reduces what they pay to the provider for your care by the same amount as the means-tested care fee that they have assessed you as needing to pay. So the overall money that the provider has to deliver the care is the same. It's just that if you are determined required to contribute, then you pay some and the government pays some. So the room prices are listed on the websites and also in the My Aged Care Find a Provider section. You can often negotiate the room's price, especially if it's been vacant for some time. And you can also negotiate the additional service fees sometimes. Just remember that understanding your full picture is really the only way to put a sustainable plan in place. Because while you might think that you need to manage these costs for 1 year, it might end up being more. And so getting some good advice early on is an important piece of the puzzle. The last step is about planning for a smooth transition. It is a very big life change, and the transition can be challenging, but there are a few things that you can do to make this easier. Bring some familiar items from home so that the space feels like home. Think about photos, art, special knickknacks, although not too many and not expensive ones because they can get bumped and broken, especially where there's equipment coming in and out of the rooms. Some homes even allow small items of furniture that might make it feel like home. But please make sure that there's no sharp edges and that it is sturdy, because if somebody leans on that or your loved one grabs hold of that to steady themselves, we don't want them having a fall because the piece of furniture has collapsed underneath them. The other thing to do in the early days of residential aged care, and perhaps even ongoing, is to plan a roster of short, regular visits, especially in the first few weeks. Shorter, more frequent visits are better because they encourage your loved one to come out of their room. You can go for a walk with them. You can sit in communal areas, perhaps even join them for meals, and you can help them to meet other residents and form friendships. The other important part of residential aged care is learning about who to speak to for different issues, because not everything goes through reception and not everything goes through the nurses or the carers. So you need to get to know the staff. You need to ask who to go to for what specific questions. Facilities are big, busy places with different people responsible for different things. And if you can communicate with the right person about the right issue, then things are going to get done much more efficiently. Don't assume that telling one person will automatically get your message to the right staff member. I know we'd like that, but the reality is different. And if you know who handles what, it really will make a big difference to the outcome of what happens. The other thing is just to be prepared and understand that it will be an adjustment for your loved one and for you too. You might have been providing a lot of the care at home, and now that they're in care, things are going to be a bit different. It's important to communicate what's worked in the past so that staff can better understand your loved one's preferences and their needs and how they can now meet those within the facility setting. And acknowledge the emotional shift as well, not just for your loved one, but for you. Things are going to feel different. You may have been busy before doing lots of care, and now you're at a loose end. Fill that time with things that you have been wanting to do and with making regular short visits to your loved one. The more you stay involved and connected with the staff, the smoother the transition is going to be. There is no such thing as a perfect facility, but with the right questions, with financial clarity, and with some realistic planning, you can find the right fit for your loved one. I actually started this channel for insider information because I really love oldies and I know how hard the aged care journey is. I know that there is so much knowledge about how to make it easier that just isn't around in the marketing pictures and the government information. I hope this video has been helpful, but please remember to also download the free ebook, Secrets to Choosing the Right Residential Aged Care Facility. The link I've put in the description below. If you found it helpful, please subscribe so that you can get more practical advice on anything aged care, home care, navigating aged care, or the system in general, so that you can travel this journey with a little less stress. And if you know somebody that it would help, please share. Subscribing really helps others to find this information. The way the algorithms work, every subscriber just makes it easier for someone else to find. And if there's a topic you'd like me to cover, please use the suggested topic link in the description below, and I'll do my best to include it in an upcoming video.